Every monster he draws becomes real. Kai Arden had spent his entire life chasing a dream he was never good enough to reach. Ever since he was a child, he wanted to become a manga artist. While other kids played sports or video games, Kai spent his evenings filling sketchbooks with heroes, monsters, kingdoms, and creatures from worlds that existed only in his imagination. The problem was simple. His drawings weren't very good. Teachers criticized him, publishers rejected him. Art schools ignored him. By the time he turned 19, Kai had collected hundreds of rejection letters. Every single one said the same thing: you lack professional talent. Eventually, even Kai started believing it. So one rainy evening, after receiving his latest rejection email, he packed away every sketchbook he owned and threw them into a cardboard box. Maybe everyone else was right. Maybe some dreams weren't meant to come true. That night changed everything. At exactly 2:17 a.m., Kai woke to the sound of glass shattering. He jumped out of bed and searched his apartment. Nothing was broken. No intruder had entered. Yet sitting in the center of his desk was something that hadn't been there before. A black pen. Its surface looked metallic, almost alive. Strange silver symbols moved beneath its surface like flowing water. Kai picked it up carefully. The moment his fingers touched the pen, a voice whispered inside his mind, "Create." Kai immediately dropped it. His heart pounded. The apartment became silent once more. For several minutes he simply stared at the object. Eventually curiosity won. He picked the pen up again. This time nothing happened. No voice, no strange energy, just a pen. Kai laughed nervously. Maybe he was exhausted. Maybe he was imagining things. Without thinking, he opened an old sketchbook and began drawing. It felt familiar, comfortable. For the first time in months, he enjoyed himself. He sketched a small creature, nothing impressive, just a simple fantasy monster. Two tiny horns, large ears, small wings, a fluffy tail. The kind of creature children would find cute. 10 minutes later, he finished the drawing. Then something impossible happened. The sketch blinked. Kai froze. The creature on the page moved again. Its eyes shifted toward him. The drawing slowly climbed to its feet, and then it jumped off the paper. Kai screamed. The tiny creature landed on his desk and looked around curiously. Its ears twitched, its tail wagged. Then it looked directly at Kai and spoke. "Hello?" Kai nearly fell backward. The creature tilted its head. "You seem surprised." For several seconds, Kai couldn't speak. His brain refused to process what was happening. The monster was alive. Actually alive. Eventually, he managed a single sentence. "What are you?" The creature thought for a moment, then answered honestly, "I don't know." Over the next several hours, Kai conducted experiments. Everything he drew came to life. Birds, cats, fantasy beasts, small dragons. Each one emerged from the page exactly as he imagined them. The better the drawing, the more intelligent and powerful the creation became. By sunrise, his apartment was completely filled with strange creatures. A miniature phoenix slept on a bookshelf. A tiny dragon guarded the refrigerator. A floating jellyfish-like monster drifted near the ceiling. Kai should have been terrified. Instead, he felt excitement for the first time in years. For the first time in his life, his art mattered. Days passed. Kai kept drawing. His creations became larger, smarter, more complex. Soon, he discovered something even stranger. His monsters loved him, not because he controlled them, but because they genuinely viewed him as their creator, their father, their king. One evening, while sketching a wolf-like creature, Kai asked a question. "Do you know where you come from?" The wolf immediately answered, "From you." Kai nodded. That made sense. At least it did until the wolf continued. "But not completely." Kai frowned. "What do you mean?" The wolf lowered its head, as if remembering something. "There are places beyond your world." Kai laughed. "You're a drawing." The wolf didn't laugh, and for some reason, that made Kai uncomfortable. Weeks later, everything changed. Kai decided to attempt his greatest drawing yet, a dragon, not a small dragon, a king. He spent 3 entire days working on it. Every scale, every claw, every detail. The creature looked magnificent. When he finally completed the last line, the apartment began shaking. The lights flickered, windows shattered. A deep roar echoed through the building. Then black fire erupted from the sketchbook. The drawing expanded, growing larger and larger and larger, until a gigantic dragon stood inside the night sky above the city. People across the district screamed. Cars crashed. Helicopters changed direction. News stations immediately interrupted their broadcasts. Nobody understood what they were seeing. A creature larger than a skyscraper had appeared from nowhere. The dragon slowly lowered its head toward Kai's apartment, then bowed. The entire city watched in disbelief. The next morning, the internet exploded. Videos of the dragon spread worldwide. Governments launched investigations. Scientists demanded answers. Military forces searched for the source. Meanwhile, Kai hid inside his apartment, terrified, because the dragon wasn't the real problem. Something else was. The dragon remembered things. It knew locations Kai had never drawn. It spoke of kingdoms that didn't exist, ancient wars, forgotten gods, entire civilizations. At first, Kai thought the dragon was simply imagining things. Then one night, he asked a question. "What was your name before I created you?" The dragon became silent, then answered, "I wasn't created." Kai felt cold. "What?" The dragon stared directly at him. "I existed long before you drew me." The room became silent. Kai laughed nervously. "That's impossible." The dragon slowly shook its head. "No, you simply opened a door." That answer haunted Kai for days. Eventually, curiosity overcame fear. He began questioning all of his creations. The answers terrified him. Many of them possessed memories. Some remembered distant worlds, others remembered battles, families, entire lives. One creation even described a moon made entirely of crystal oceans, a place Kai had never imagined. Yet the details were too specific to be random. Slowly, a horrifying realization formed inside Kai's mind. He wasn't creating monsters, he was finding them. Every drawing acted like a window, a connection. Somehow the pen allowed him to pull living beings from another reality. And if that was true, then those worlds were real. 1 month later, Kai made his biggest mistake. He drew something without thinking, a figure sitting on a throne. Unlike his other creations, this being looked almost human, tall, elegant, terrifying. Black wings spread behind its back. A crown of fire floated above its head. Its eyes glowed like dying stars. Kai named him Monarch. The moment the final line was completed, every creation in the apartment froze. The phoenix, the dragon, the wolf, all of them immediately knelt. A pressure filled the room. Monarch opened his eyes, then slowly stood. Kai stared nervously. Monarch looked around, then focused on Kai. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Finally, Monarch smiled. "Master." Kai swallowed hard. The creature's presence felt completely different from the others. Older, stronger, ancient. Then Monarch said something that made Kai's blood run cold. "You should never have drawn me." Kai frowned. "What do you mean?" Monarch's smile disappeared. "Because I already existed." Silence. The room suddenly felt much smaller. Monarch walked toward the window. Far above the city, stars shone in the darkness. The ancient being stared into the sky, then spoke quietly. "They found you." Kai felt his heartbeat accelerate. "Who?" Monarch pointed upward. At first Kai saw nothing. Then he noticed movement among the stars. Thousands of tiny lights, growing larger, approaching Earth. His phone suddenly vibrated. Every phone in the city vibrated. Televisions activated, computers turned on. A message appeared across every screen on Earth. Unknown cosmic event detected. Global emergency protocol activated. People panicked. Governments scrambled for answers. Military satellites focused on the approaching objects. Then the final message appeared. One sentence. A sentence that changed everything. The Creator Realm has found Earth. Monarch closed his eyes. The dragon behind him lowered its head. Every creation in the apartment became silent. And Kai finally understood. The monsters weren't invading. The monsters weren't the threat. Something had created them, and now it was coming for him.